What does that feeling feel like for those who
For those who
never?
don't never done heroin,
Yeah.
well, when you inject it, it's like this feeling that, well, first of all, you get this really nasty taste. I don't know what people want that taste for, but you get this really nasty taste in the back of your throat, right? Because it's hitting your bloodstream, you know? And then all of a sudden, it just feels like an elevator. It just starts from the top of your head and it just slowly works its way all the way down to your feet. And I didn't have nowhere to go. I'm like walking, thinking like, where do I go? You know? And I remembered my friend from junior high, from the when I had escaped from the orphanage, and I went and stayed at her house. And it was there that the guy was telling me, "You're gonna be my girlfriend," you know. And I'm thinking, this is my ticket. You know, I'm gonna get out of here. And that was how I got introduced to him. And you know, we partied for a few years. We were partying, living the lifestyle, out doing whatever, you know, everything that you lifestyle you think that it's good and you got it like that. And then I just remember somebody introduced him to heroin. And for one whole year, I never tried it. You know, I just would see him. He would be nodded out all the time. And it just would make me so angry because I would see him like, why can't you just get off of that? You know, because he would be sick, throwing up. And I just didn't know the potency of that drug, right? You know, and I remember we were at one of his sister's house, and he ended up being so tweaked out that night. And I remember his brother was also on heroin, and he said, "Hey, you know, go get the, you know, he's got some Hyla in his front pocket. You know, go get it for me. You know, man, I'm really sick." And I said, and you go, you know, he's tweaked out. He's not gonna be able to move. You'll be able to go get it out of his pocket, and he won't do nothing. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna go get it. And he's like, come on. I said, no, I'm not gonna get it. The only way that I'm gonna get it is if you do me a shot. I want to try and see what it is. And I remember him telling me, no, I can't do that. And I said, okay, well then I'm not gonna go get it. And I remember him coming back and saying, okay, go get it. I'll give you 10 units. And I said, all right. So I walked in there. He was so tweaked out. I walked in there and took that stuff out of his pocket. Little did I know that it was going to introduce me to a chapter in my life that I would never forget.
Well, yeah, I want to. Let's back up. I'm sorry, because I want to like. Because here's my thought about drugs. Right, I've seen other people do drugs. I've seen the effects on drugs. I've seen, you know, the aftermath of drugs, and so that's what always made me kind of stay away and not even try anything. What made you seeing, you know what I mean, how the boyfriend was and how he was nodding off? What made you at that point want to actually like try it?
I don't know. Honestly, I really couldn't tell you. I just wanted to know, what was it that he couldn't walk away from? You know, what was it about this drug that you just can't walk away from? Because see, I had walked away from a lot of things. So what is it that you, to me, because I thought like, man, you're just weak. You won't do it. You know, you're just being weak. You can't do it, you know, but I bet you I can. And here I go. I told the brother, well, he ends up shooting me up with the 10 units, right? And all it took was one time. I watched him shoot me up in my arm. I watched him how he did it. And that was it. After that one time, I was like, no, I got this. You ain't got to do it. I can do my own self. And then after that, I liked the rush that I felt, you know, because like they say, you're chasing that dragon, but you're only going to get that dragon one time.
What does that feeling feel like for those who
For those who don't never done heroin,
Yeah.
well, when you inject it, it's like this feeling that, well, first of all, you get this really nasty taste. I don't know what people want that taste for, but you get this really nasty taste in the back of your throat, right? Because it's hitting your bloodstream, you know? And then all of a sudden, it just feels like an elevator. It just starts from the top of your head and it just slowly works its way all the way down to your feet.
Like,
This,
is it like a tingling feeling?
no, it's just
or
like this. You
hot
could just
feeling.
yeah, like a hot sensation from the top of your head. It just goes all the way down, you know, and you just feel like this looseness, like the you just feel like so relaxed. And then when I tried it, you know, like I said, I was a downer person because I like to stay mellow and get high. So now at this point, I'm like, now I really done got introduced to something that I ain't got to wait to get high, and I can just feel it instantly, you know. And once I got introduced to that, that was it. You know, we started getting on this bandwagon of now it's not only him doing heroin, now it's me and him doing heroin. So at this point, now it's an addiction. Well, during this time, they were like busting a lot of the drugs that were coming across the border, coming across the ships. And during the early 90s, you know, mid 90s, 94, 95, you know, a lot of the ships were getting hit from Cuba. So now the drugs were becoming scarce here on the street, you know, cocaine and stuff like that, which was what we dealt. and it was becoming so rare. You know, the prices were so high, the drugs were so stepped on, and it was like heroin was our like almost like a form of escape. But now the drugs are getting scarce, so we can't really supply the financial obligation that it takes to keep staying high. So now at this point, I'm like thinking like, well, the only way that I can do this to get high is at this point you really don't even care about your partner. You know, you done lost all. You're not even, that drug is your partner. That heroin is your partner. And I remember just telling him the only way that I can make money is I can go work in this strip club. And, you know, I think he kind of thought about it for a minute and stuff. And he just kind of looked at me and he just, well, okay. You know, and that was all it took, because all he thought about was now we're going to have money, you know, and it didn't bother him. I remember he didn't go with me. I went by myself. I walked into this strip club. It was a fair right there on Webb Chapel on Northwest Highway. I walked in there. Never forget that little white guy. His name was Terry. Walked up to him, and, you know, and he's all pimping with a little white suit on. And here I walk in there, and he, like, you know, does the interview with me, like, looks me up and down, has me fill out the application and stuff. And I actually started out as a waitress. But then one night he caught me on a buzz, and I just kept looking at the dancers, because the atmosphere has become normal, right? It's normalized, this atmosphere, but I'm making money. Even as a waitress, I'm making good money, because you're conversating, you're getting money. You know, you're on a different hustle, and now I can stay high. I can provide for my drugs.
You still getting high and
Yes.
still, okay.
And then at this point, I just remember that little white guy, he just tells me, no offense to the Caucasians, but he tells me, you know, you can make a lot of money up there. And that was all it took. And I said, well, what do I got to do? He just said, just go to the house mom. Tell her to give you something to wear. And see, and that's how the devil works. He always will put you in a place when you're in a vulnerable position and put the right people in place to bring you to a place, you know, to bring you down to a place, you know, to take you down a little bit further. And it was like the enemy always, like God always has people in position, but that devil always has people in position too. So now I'm standing there and I'm looking at this stage, and he's like looking at me, and you know, and he's like right there whispering in my ear. And I just remember, okay, walking up the stairway behind the DJ to go up to the house mom and tell her that I needed something to put on, you know, because back then they actually wore clothes when you came out on the stage. And remember telling her that, you know, that I was going to start dancing. And then I started seeing the more money come in. And then from there, the addiction just grows more and more, because it never stays little. It continues to grow, you know, and anything that we do that's destruction, it starts out as one decision, small step. And in that, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Heads up, small business owners, the ERC is a federal program designed to give you money for keeping the economy going during the pandemic. And with Lendio, it's easy to find out if you're eligible. If you qualify, you can get up to $26,000 for every employee you kept on your payroll in 2020 and 2021. This federal stimulus money won't last forever, so don't wait. Visit lendio.com/tap-in to learn more. That's lendio.com/TAPN, okay? There's a link in the description. Click on the link in the description. Now back to the show.